Alright, welcome. I'm doing an overview of Project Spark, as you can see right here. My initial first impressions, well, maybe not my first impressions. I've been playing this for a couple days here, and I think I've come to a conclusion of how I feel about the game, as well as what I think they're trying to do, how everything is really coming together, and how I think it's going to go in the future. So, as I go into the initial menu here that you're presented with, it gives you the option to play other players' creations, which is easy to do. You just click and download. Everything in this game is just seamlessly fast. At least it is for me. Maybe it's just my computer. And then create, which I think is probably the best function of the game, or one of the best functions in the game, because you can just hop right in and start going hacking away at it. So I'm going to start a new world here, or a new creation here, and this is what we got. It's just a plain open area, and really, for me, I just sort of like to take it and kind of go. And personally, I just go one step at a time and think, maybe this would be good. Maybe this would be cool. Maybe this would be cool. Maybe this is cool. And people often ask me if I'm streaming online. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, or "What kind of game are you making?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of doing. I'm kind of going. And I would be one of the downsides of this is that you have to run Windows 8. For those of you who don't like Windows 8, and right now I'm recording actually with Twitch and not Fraps because this is an application on the Microsoft Market. So, yeah, as I was saying, I just sort of do, and then I start to form something, and then I create. I sort of will create a narrative later on, or something similar. A lot of this has been demonstrated before on the Project Spark community channels and the Project Spark streams, that you can make anything pretty fast. I have my character right there, and if I wanted to test the world after I've created it, let's go into the brush tool here, increase the intensity, maybe increase it a little more. Okay, so now we're hitting this up like a little hill thing. If you've ever played a game like SimCity, or there's some other terrain modifiers that have a kind of a simple mapping interface. I've mapped for some games in the past, mods, other things like that, just trying to whip things together quickly and create something, really good looking. Just like that, I've created something that's simple, and that's just a beginning step. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more complex elements, and right now, just to show in-game, what I made is already there, and there's no loading process. It's just instantly done. We're instantly there, we're instantly in game, and this is my character, and right now he has a default brain in, and or at least in this game they call them brains. Let's go back to edit, transfers right back, and they call this an open world digital canvas upon which you can do whatever you want. But here's something I'm gonna show you guys right now. So they have the brains, which is essentially a word for coding. It's a system based on a programming language called Kodu, which works on a somewhat a simple principle, although it's probably one of the most difficult aspects of the game. It looks easy when it's streamed, but it isn't as simple as you think. So, I mean, the whole process is based on when when condition is met, execute condition. At least that's how it works on coding level. And then there's various other processes that link them together. And that's probably one of the more irritating things. It just looks so easy, and it is very difficult. And as for terrain and how that goes, you have lazy ways of doing it and easy ways of doing it. And right now, well, I don't know if I'd call it lazy, but you have your biome brush, which, since right now they only have woodlands and mountains once you get up high enough, so it doesn't give you much to work with. You only have so many different types of grass, etc. So in one sweep, I can pretty much just do that. However, if I decreased the size, it would decrease the size of the area it affects, it decreases the size of the trees, any trees that would be made. Or we haven't seen any trees yet out of this one, but you get the idea. That, or if you wanted to be more detailed in what you're doing, you have a few that you can pick out of here and, you know, choose your own, decide what you want. And they've often demonstrated that if you cut a tunnel through, you know, like here for, well, let's do this. I gotta increase the density in order for this to really puncture through. For some reason it's not working. There's some issues with the controls that I find a little bit, I'm still on paint, derp. There's some issues with the controls that I find a bit frustrating. Well, that didn't really dig a tunnel because I'm not deep enough down. This game is usable on the Xbox or on Windows, but I think it's definitely, at least obviously, made for a console. A lot of the things would switch more easily in a console. The coding would be much quicker in a console. Just generally switching between a lot of things and how you work with the objects would be much easier on a console. But if I switch back to the biome brush, well, it may have already done it, I think, but on the top of the tunnel, you have things like things hanging down on inside of the cave/tunnel. So I mean, they've gone to a lot of work to make everything pretty user-friendly. However, so far, at least in the beta, they haven't given you much to work with in terms of diversity. And they have a variety of objects that you can look at. If this would just open, okay. You know, and they have all these things you can plop down. Anything with the coin or a bar next to it means that it's something that needs to be purchased in the in-world market. I'd say about a quarter to half of the items that they have for you are things that you have to purchase in the in-world market. It's a completely different setting. It's a desert setting as opposed to the woodland setting that we're seeing here. And they're gradually working on more types of environments that you'll be able to download in the future, and then you can create all sorts of different worlds with that. And then you have different characters, and all of these have a default brain. All the characters have brains. And say I like a goblin, I wanna create a goblin, or I can just crash to my desktop. Like I said, this is in beta, so you know, you can't be too surprised about anything that could or will happen. I don't even think I had time to save. Let's go back to create. Oh no, it did save. It just saved kind of far back. Yeah, surprisingly, it doesn't crash too often for me. But it does crash. But that's to be expected from a beta. So if see, here's all the different terrains that they have as of right now, which isn't much. I don't think I've seen this. Interesting. Okay. But I was going to show you guys how to create some things. So, say there's a goblin. He's a typical enemy. He has, a basic brain of how things work. This is all set up by Team Dakota / Microsoft, who developed this game. And I'm just glad that I didn't have to program this, because it would take me a very long time, because I'm very bad with coding in this game. But say, I like the goblin's brain, it's kind of what I want, but I don't like the goblin. I want to create an entirely different character. I want it to look like a different character. So we can have it look like almost anything. We could have it look like any of these guys, or I maybe even may be able to make it look like an effect, and the effect would just come after me and attack me, which might be kind of fun. I might do that right now. Let's make it look like a fireball. Maybe I can't do that. What about an apple? Okay, let's be attacked by an apple. Okay, and then we quickly go right back in, and okay, well, I think that he doesn't have any attack animations or characteristics, so that can't really do any damage to me. But you get the idea. There are a lot of creatures out there that you can swap in and out, and it'll function just correctly. Let's go back into edit mode and delete the apple. And if you wanted to program your own brain, that's fine. A lot of things, it's best to have so it'll function on Xbox and PC, because the main distribution, or at least the main player base, will probably be on consoles. So, overall, pretty easy to use, and I think I'll go in and I'll show you some of the basic stuff that I've done. They give you a lot of room to work with, and they give you a lot of stuff that you can do, and it's just about the variety of things, or the creativity that you can do while you're working with this, or use. So the more innovative you are in using objects, the more interesting something's going to be. I don't know if this is the right one. We'll have a look. So let's go into edit mode here and see if I got the right one. Okay, and indeed I didn't, but we'll see if mine exists somewhere. So essentially, I mean, you start off here and then you jump along this stuff, and this is actually a really old build. I'll have to find where I put my other one. And then you just go through here. There's some stuff in the mountain, exit out the backside, and then there's this huge ass maze that is uncovered right now, but that's because I have a lot of stuff I need to input in it. Enemies, coins, etc., and then I'll cap it over. And then you go in here, and then I was thinking of a boss and all this other stuff that could go in here that would just be fun as all hell. I really hope I don't have to redo this, or I hope it's not lost forever. And I was going to have this sort of encased in ice, and then I was going to move on into a completely different area. So I think that, let me explain how some of this building works. Obviously it was not, it's not an in-game objects. These are emeralds or diamonds I've changed the color of. These are pillars, and then I've combined different kinds of diamonds with the top of the pillars here. In this build, a lot of the stuff is not the way it's supposed to be. There's flooring, and it's more encased in ice in the other build. and this opens, and you know it's I like the way that it's heading, and there's some other stuff I'm gonna do, but I'd rather save that for another stream, and we'll see how that turns out. So just right ahead, let me just show you. I'll jump, well, won't jump in, hold on, let me edit from here. And this is a logic cube, and that's basically a portable brain, and you can get that to do almost, well, a lot of things. It's just one of the many objects in game that has a really unique function. Maybe someday I'll get into the more detailed parts of the brain when I know more about it. Okay, so there's a lot about the terrain stuff that I'm still yet to figure out, because some of it's just confusing to me. I'm just not sure on some of the exact moving command stuff, as to how to quickly move something or move something faster when there's no terrain under it. So let's test. I've moved the spawn point. I use a logic cube to spawn because I've put save points into the game. This door is obviously not supposed to be there. I'll have to find the actual working build, but it's not too much different. It's just some work that needs to be changed. Okay, and as you can see on the bottom right, I have a stamina bar that I've coded in on the left, and now it's beeping saying I have stamina to use again. And go in this cave here, and we sort of got this. Okay, this is actually an older build than I thought it was. Yeah, so that you have sort of that pond in there, and I figured out a way to make it so it looks like I'm not just coming out of the water for no reason, with some ingenuity. There's a guy here. I added a few different lines of programming, not just to say, not just to have him say some stuff, but so if you die, he doesn't attack you anymore. I also added an attack for this squirrel throwing acorns, which is just kind of cool. But that's one of the many things that you can do here. I mean, you can take this many directions. And I might have to fix that. See, and that's another reason why I haven't capped this yet, is there's probably a lot of spot checking that needs to be done. Okay, and here we go. And there's a lot of stuff like display icons and other things like that I think need to be done. Yeah, this is quite an old build. And then this. And this build, okay, that works. And there was going to be a boss battle in here, and this floor wasn't made out of this, but yeah. So I mean, that's how it's functioning for the time being. And then if you look up there, I've created for some reason a gyroscope thing, and that's what I kind of mean. I mean, it's like you just sort of get going, and it's like, well, how about this? Would this be interesting? Let's bind these things together, and then let's make a gyroscope. And then you just throw it in a random place, and then come up with a purpose for it later. And I think that's one of the amazing things about this game that Microsoft has developed, is that you can just sort of jump in and then figure out how you want to do things with what you've created, step by step. You may not have a plan for it initially, but then it may come to you in a bit. And I think right now I'm kind of working on some other stuff that I'll get around to in a stream on Twitch TV /Kurosaji, Kurosaji. It's also on the channel, and if you're interested, you can stop in and watch the stream, and I'll probably be working on that for a good portion of the next few days. I don't know if I have anything much else to say. There's so much you can do that I can't really cover everything um, in such a video. It's just impossible because the possibilities are endless, as platitudinous and cliche as that may sound. Um, so, yeah, I mean, really you can create assemblies and then create all sorts of things to work together, because like this gyroscope thing wasn't even a gyroscope thing. I made it. And let me think. I'm trying to think of anything else I could show you. There's just so many different ways of modifying things and slapping things together to make something that you want. So you get something completely different, or somebody looks at it and they're like, what the hell did that, like, how did they make that? And then they think about it and they're like, oh my god, that's a whole bunch of this, 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 and this, all sort of crafted together. And they're like, wow. So, you know, it's just kind of amazing, some of the stuff that you can do. And it really, it fascinates me. So I have a lot to do, and then there's all these sound things, you know, all these sounds that you can add to the game. That's something that I don't think they've really completed. That, or I don't know if they'll take it very far. It's just, how are you going to plan for every contingencies? And there's all these assemblies, which are a collection of things that either they have made or you have made that have been bound together, that you can disassemble and then make into something else, or just use partially, which can be great for something like, you know, creating something that somebody's going to scratch their head and try to think about, well, that's not in game, how did they make that? And as I've said, I think that's a great part of Project Spark. I think I'm about done recapping for now. It's just some of the controls for mapping are a bit painful to use, because sometimes you can't get the brush fine enough, or you'll work on something and then it'll just, you know, slide around to some interesting location and you're like, oh my god, how the fuck did I get over here? But yeah, this just was going to be a quick recap, and if you wanted to watch me for the next couple days after this has been posted, I'm gonna play this over on my Twitch channel. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and check out this game because it's lots of fun. Alright, see you later.